Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are now tuning into Snakey Talk, and I'm your host, Fifi Zappa. And today I'm joined with another very special guest. He's also a YouTuber and K-pop reactor. It is the brilliant, the wonderful Sir Austin.
Hey, Snakies, it's me, and I'm back.
You're stealing my lines.
Oh, sorry, I've just always wanted to do that.
Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
For the people listening who might not know who you are, would you like to let them know a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your channel?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Austin. I have a small YouTube channel called Sir Austin. A little bit about me is I am a vocal coach and I am a musician. I went to college and I studied vocal performance and songwriting, so I have a degree and all of that stuff. And I don't know, my channel's kind of like it's kind of like a weird mixture. I react to K-pop. Like there's thousands of K-pop reaction channels out there, and I do that. I react to music videos, but I also kind of break down like vocals and talk about like music technique and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to find a balance because some people just want, some people want to see me like reacting to music videos and learning more about groups and stuff like that. And then there's other people who just want me to talk about like the professional music side of it. So I'm still trying to find that balance,
Right.
but yeah, my channel's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I love that, the fact that you're a vocal coach, because like you said, there are so many reactors out there now. And it does, what's the word? It separates you from everyone else, and it's very interesting because I remember when I first saw your channel, it was one of the things that made me click on it like straight away because I want to hear what you have to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of vocal coaches on YouTube too, and there's a lot of like really talented vocal coaches on there. I think what I wanted to do from the beginning was kind of make things a little bit less intimidating, because if you want like to learn about super in-depth technical stuff, there's a ton of really smart people that are doing that. I wanted to kind of make things a little bit more simple and just talk about like the basics of what they're doing, so that it's because a lot of people who listen to K-pop, and especially a lot of people on my channel because of the groups I react to, a lot of people, maybe English isn't their first language. So when you're talking about like chord closure and talking about like the muscles and all of that stuff, people aren't going to understand what those words are a lot of the time. So
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So
like if there's a lot of vocal coaches that will talk about like the cricothyroid muscle and all of this stuff, and like no one knows what the hell that is. So I'm just like, yes, she sounded great.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, you don't have to get technical with it, but it's nice to hear your opinion, coming from someone who is in that field, if that makes sense. But your videos are also fun to watch because you do fanboy, you do just enjoy the visuals, the choreo, you enjoy every aspect as well, I must say.
Yes, I try to. But at the same time, I think we're pretty similar in that we're both very honest. And, if I don't like something, I'm going to say I don't like it. And I'm going to tell you why I don't like it and why it's just, my personal preference. And, I've learned that a lot of times people who like K-pop really just want to hear people talk about how great their favorites are. And that's not my channel. I pretty much listen to everything. So I'm usually going to have something positive to say. But there have been songs where I'm just like, yeah, I didn't vibe with this at all. This group just isn't my thing, and that's okay.
I completely agree, and I feel like usually as well, even if I don't vibe with something, usually I can find something to say. If there's something I really, really don't like, I just won't post a reaction.
I've done that before
because I feel like if there's nothing I can add to this whatsoever, there's no point in me posting it, or if I couldn't add any like constructive criticism, maybe that's the word I was looking
so for. I'm obviously not going to say the artist because that would be rude, but I was
all hell will break loose.
I was filming a video the other day. It was an album reaction, and I was listening to an entire album. And you know what? It was an EP, so there were only 5 songs. But I got to one song, and I don't know what, because typically I don't talk about songwriting as much. But my degree, what I went to school for, was for vocal performance and songwriting. So I do have like an English background. I do really care about lyrics, which is something I disagree with you on, but that's a whole other conversation. I didn't call you out on Twitter, but I wanted to. We could talk about that later.
Okay.
But I got to this song and I just paused the video and I was like, this is really bad. These lyrics are awful. And then I scrolled down and I saw that the artist had writing credit on it. And so then I had to backtrack and I was like, well, okay, this is just my personal preference. This is my personal opinion. Obviously, you need to say things that are respectful, and I don't want to diminish anything that this artist did because this is their art, right? They put their heart and everything into it.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that English was this person's first language. It was just bad. And so I just didn't post the reaction, and I was just like, listen, this person is iconic. This person is legendary. They don't need like my random opinion. And so I just scrapped the video.
The whole thing. You scrapped the whole thing.
The whole video. It just wasn't worth it because the other songs, on the EP, like they were fine, but it wouldn't have made up for like how much I shit on the writing of that song. So yeah, I just didn't post it.
I can't relate because, as you know, lyrics don't affect me in any way. For me, I'm affected by sounds. It's sounds that make me feel like emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I'd liked the sound of that song, I wouldn't have even known what was being said or anything like that. Or even there are Western songs that I listen to. I literally don't even. There's songs I've listened to my whole life since a child. I don't actually know all the lyrics to. It's all just from the sounds.
Yeah.
That's just how my brain works. But I can understand for someone who cares about that sort of thing, I can understand why you sort of scrap the whole thing as well.
So the reason why I feel like it's so important is because there are different types of songwriters, and people write and approach things differently. There are musicians who maybe sit down at the piano and they kind of get a melody and they get chords and stuff like that. And so they build the structure of the song first. And then there are people like me who find that the writing and the lyrics are more important. And then they can build the melody and they can build the music around those lyrics. And so the only thing, I certainly understand that you're more of like an auditory listener and that doesn't make sense. You care more about like how the song makes you feel and vibing and that sort of stuff. And that's great. But there's so many times where the only part that the actual artist had part in was the lyrics. And so right. And so at that point you're like you're pretty much like only giving credit to like the producer and the musicians and not the actual like singer or the artist. So that's the only thing that I kind of disagreed with you on. But that's the great thing about music is you like what you like and everyone has their own personal opinion and it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And I think honestly, no, I think both of our subscribers, my subscribers and your subscribers, I do think they generally appreciate that we're like that and that we're honest and that we have our own things that we prefer or dislike and we're honest with it. I think that makes us genuine reactors.
Yes, 100%.
Excellent. I think now we can move on to the next segment, which is Snakey News. Snakey News. I just want to say, you wouldn't have heard it, Austin, but my friend actually created a jingle for Snakey News, which I will edit it in. So the listeners would have heard it, but you wouldn't have heard it.
That's okay.
I just want to say thank you to my friend Philip. Shout out to Philip for creating that jingle for me. He sampled my little Snakey News from episode 2. He sampled it and turned it into a jingle. Thank you, Philip. I love you. I appreciate you. Anyway, on to the news. So the first part of the news, well, it isn't actually news because it's just speculation. But basically, XOLs are on the edge of their seats at the moment because I don't know if you've seen Austin. There's been a
Clowns.
lot of clowns. We're all basically clowning ourselves. There's been a lot
Yes.
of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of hints of a possible XO comeback. How do you feel about that, Austin?
I mean, obviously, I would be super excited and I would be super happy. It would be my first ever EXO comeback.
Yay!
I have been reacting to EXO since November, and in that very short amount of time, they have become like my favorite K-pop group of all time.
I was going to ask you that. Who
Yes,
your alts were. So it's EXO.
it's EXO.
Wow.
Yes, and then Kyungsoo is my alt bias of everyone, like in the entire world.
Question before we move on. Do you love
Yes.
his shaved head?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And I actually bought, I was planning on buying as many albums as it took to get his forehead photo card. And I only had to buy 3. I got super lucky.
Hey!
I love him so much. I don't know what it was. I think, because I went back and I watched my first ever EXO reaction. And in my first reaction, I just kept talking about like how attractive Chanyeol was. Like, but then somehow, I think it was his voice just kind of like snuck up there. And then as I started learning more about each of the members, before I knew it, I was watching 100 Days My Prince, and just fell in love with Kyungsoo. So that's, yeah.
there's just something about him. He's like a mystery, isn't he? He's very mystery. No one knows that much about him, and he's just got this personality where you just kind of want to crack open his little pea head. I call his head a little pea head when it's shaven.
He also, like, if you look at him and you watch like a lot of the funny stuff, a lot of times he gets like a smirk where you can tell he he likes to start the fire and then just like sit back and watch.
He does.
He just seems very mischievous also.
Yes, very mischievous, yes. What was we saying? I lost track. Oh, we're talking about these rumors, these EXO comeback.
The comeback,
rumors. So,
yeah.
It would be your first comeback. How exciting. The rumors kind of started when I think Baekhyun was in a fan meeting or something, and he mentioned something about EXO activities. And then I think Sehun being dancing, being in like the practice room and dancing, and just seeing him being active, I think got everyone like, ooh. And then the third thing that happened, I think it was Kyungsoo had an interview or something with it. Was it a magazine, an article?
Yes.
I'm actually not sure. I should have done my research. And
it was on Naver, or Naver. I don't know how to pronounce that website.
I think it's Naver. I think.
But basically I think it was just the author of that article said that he had a new role in a new movie and then he was working on EXO's comeback. Like, it wasn't confirmed by anyone. It was just the person who wrote the article said that.
But I think it's a few little things here and there that are just making everyone a bit. It's not just one thing; it's multiple things.
Yeah. I think that, obviously something is going to happen, I mean,
we know Kyungsoo's solo's coming, so at least we know that's coming.
I would actually be super, because who's gone right now? Suho's gone, Chen is gone.
And that's it.
That's it. Okay. So we're only down I think what excites me the most about like an OT7 comeback, I don't know if Lay would be able to be there or not, but
that would be amazing.
What makes me most excited would be to get to hear voices that I don't get to hear as often, because I think you and I both agree. I think we both agree, or I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I've heard you say this before. It is my opinion that out of all of EXO, that Kai has the most like unique voice and the most interesting like texture to his voice. And his solo album, Like, I really loved that. Like, I love all of those songs. I listen to it probably every day, maybe. I listen to it a lot still. Because, working from home, just putting headphones on, I listen to a lot of music all the time. And
Yeah.
Kai's album is one that I listen to all the time. And it's just because his voice is so interesting. And I think
it's interesting, yeah.
he doesn't get enough credit for what he's able to do with his voice, too. It's not just that he has a good tone. He's a great singer, too.
Yeah.
And then Sehun, like, that's what makes me most excited with having less members. Of course it sucks. We want Chen there. He's an incredible vocalist. We want Suho there. He's amazing. But if it allows Sehun and Kai to have more moments, yes.
Yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree, because my favorite vocal, like, I love Chanyeol's singing voice. He's my second favorite vocals in EXO. I love listening to Kai the most, and second it's Chanyeol. I just absolutely, they have just such unique and nice tones, and not just for EXO, but in K-pop in general. I find, especially Chanyeol.
The thing that struck me about Chanyeol so much is that he is just, people, like, I'm not going to compare to anyone, obviously, but what struck me the most about Chanyeol is that he's just incredibly, like, musical. Not even just his singing, like he can just go up to, and like, he can play every single freaking instrument. And he's just ridiculously talented, and you can tell he's just a very musical person. And when I saw him on the piano singing, and I don't remember what song it was, but it was an English song, and he was struggling with the microphone while playing the piano, while singing at the same time, and he sounded incredible, and I was just blown away. I was like, this is like the main rapper of a boy K-pop group, and he sings better than, like, most male singers, like, ever. So I was just super happy and impressed.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's a rare gem in the K-pop industry, and he doesn't get enough credit. He
Justice
really
for Chanyeol.
Justice for Chanyeol.
Hashtag justice for Chanyeol.
Exactly. I forgot what I was going to say now. I can't remember.
It's fine. I can talk about EXO literally all day.
Me too, and I love it. I love it because we've kind of gone through the same thing. Basically, we've discovered them, and we've had our journey. Well, I'm still having my journey. We are sharing our journey on YouTube. So it's really nice that, like, I can relate to you in that way.
Yeah, my journey just started. I mean, November, there's so much content. Like, it's still overwhelming. I just got through all the music videos. I'm at a point now where I feel like I know all of the members' personalities. But, there's still, like, I haven't listened to any of the albums in full. So there's, like, probably dozens of B-sides I haven't got to yet.
Oh my God, Austin, the B-sides. The B-sides. I can't wait. For you to get to. Are you going to do album first listens for them all?
Yeah, so I've already done album first listens for a lot of the solo stuff. Like, I did Kai, and I've done Baekhyun's.
Yeah, I saw Baekhyun. I think I saw a Baekhyun one.
It's tough for me because I want to do everything. I want to do EXO-M. I want to do EXO-K. Especially because when you're starting at the beginning, there's going to be 2 versions of every album. So that's double I got to listen to.
I didn't do both versions.
Yeah. I've had trouble.
That's mostly because I'm lazy, though.
Well, I've had trouble with EXO-M stuff because, YouTube and uploading Chinese content, a lot of times it just gets blocked immediately. So that's a shame, because I believe EXO-M, at least the first couple albums, like, that's where you get to hear Chen. That's where you get to hear Schumann. Like, I want to hear them sing too. So.
Yeah. If you can be bothered to do it, definitely do it.
Yeah.
I was just lazy. I'm just lazy.
Well, I don't know. It depends, because I'm now kind of branching out. Because now that I'm at a place I've learned a lot about EXO, I'm going to still keep them on my channel. But the problem with me is I don't really understand, like, moderation. And so when I like something, when I start to stand something, I was doing, like, an EXO video every single day for, like, 2
Yeah.
months. And so now my EXO playlist has like 60 some videos in it, and I haven't done anything else. Now I'm at a point where I'm starting to like today I reacted to Victon for the first time, and I'm starting to kind of this is probably a good segue into today's topic. I'm starting to branch into boy groups a little bit more, which is a brand new experience for me. So
yay! That's another thing I can relate to you with is with the opposite. So I started off a boy group stan, and I started getting into girl groups and vice versa, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second piece of news, which is I have to give a little bit of a trigger warning. There's a mention of weight and weight loss and dieting. So if anyone wants to skip forward, I'm not sure how much forward, but we won't stay on this piece of news for long. But I just wanted to kind of mention it because it drew my attention when I saw it. Sorry, I'll let you sit that out. Hold on, let me drink some water first.
You won't.
I'm out here fucking dying.
Fifi's famous words, I'll edit that out. Doesn't happen.
I can't. Have you noticed as well? I can't even say it properly. I always say edit it out.
Yeah.
Let me sip my water. So, former, I think it's AOA. That is
Jimin?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, not Jimin.
Okay.
So, former AOA member, is it Choe? I don't know how you pronounce her name. Choe? I really don't know how to pronounce her name. I apologize. Someone let me know in the comments. She was on a show called On and Off, and she spoke about how she was insecure when she first debuted. When she first debuted and stuff like that. She then goes on to mention that when she did debut, she weighed around 30 to 39 kilograms, which is 66 to 86 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, and I saw that number, and I gasped. I went, and it really got me thinking about, the crazy beauty standards and stuff that idols have to, or just the unhealthy conditions that idols have to be in just to be idols. And it made me really, really sad.
Was there any more context to that? As to...
She was just talking. I didn't see much because this was just the main part of the article that I saw.
Okay.
But she was talking about a lot of things. And I'm not sure what this show is exactly, but she was just talking about her experience and stuff like that. And she was talking about how she was insecure.
Are you familiar with AOA at all, or kind of the controversy around the group?
Someone got bullied. There was some bullying, I think.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it had anything to do with that whole situation, because it was pretty bad.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Jesus Christ, there's a lot has happened in this group.
Yes.
But she was basically just talking about just her struggles and stuff, and that a manager said something about her weight at some point as well. And I was just it just got to my head because I've heard this story so many times in the K-pop industry. Yeah,
it's I think it's a bigger issue with the Korean beauty standards, and even just standards in general in the world.
Yeah,
and
it's just the world in general, I think is.
And it's more, you're even beginning to see it more with males too. So it's I don't know, it's not a good thing.
It makes me almost feel a little bit guilty, a little bit bad that I'm just sitting here consuming all this K-pop while these idols are out here being so unhealthy, suffering, not just, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel a little bit bad.
Well, imagine being 10 years old, 11 years old, and wanting to join SM or JYP or whatever because you wanted to be a musician, you wanted to make music, you wanted to make people happy, and fast forward to 16, 17 years old and developing an eating disorder because of that. They were there because they wanted to make music. They weren't there because they wanted to be sexualized with whatever. Yes. It's gross. And that's a whole part of the reacting to K-pop is something that I have mixed feelings on, which is why I like reacting to I like reacting to like groups that are maybe a little bit older, because hopefully, groups like EXO and Mamamoo, the members are like in their 30s now. Like they might have
I know
dealt with
what you
that in the
mean,
past, but like it doesn't make me feel as icky, if that makes sense.
I completely know what you mean. There's a dark side to it, definitely. I think sometimes it's good to take a step back and look at these things, though, which is why I wanted to bring it up in the news, because it was kind of, I don't know, it just made me feel really sad. This is really random, would you do it if you could go back in time when you were young and there was a chance for you to become an idol? Would you do it?
Yeah, I probably would.
You would do it?
I would. Because music and performing is something I obviously always wanted to do. I went to college to do that. So for me, it would make sense. I mean, I really don't like other humans, so I would probably only do it if I could be a solo artist. But I mean, yeah, I'd give it a shot.
Oh, that's so funny. But would it maybe limit you in your creativity, being an actual idol?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like writing stuff yourself. Like, there's tons of examples of artists, K-pop artists, who have. I think an example I heard was like Rose from Blackpink. She has like journals and notebooks full of songs that she's written, and like is just probably never going to be able to release them while she's under contract. So like, it's just kind of heartbreaking because, that's her art, and she may never be able to release it, or she might only be able to release it once she no longer has support from a company to help her put it out. So yeah, it sucks.
It does suck, but you would risk it. You would just choose to be an idol.
I mean, I'm not Korean, so
no, but I'm saying no. Well, obvious. Well, you're not going to be an idol anyway, are you, Austin?
You know what? There's always a chance. I could. You know what? I could be like in the next Refund Sisters.
Wait, hold on. Why don't we start a group?
What? Yeah, we could. You said that you were gonna do a song when you hit 50,000 subscribers. I'll do a song when I hit 50,000 subscribers, and then we can do a collab.
Oh my god!
And we can start the next Akmu.
Oh. Oh my god, listeners, you heard it here first. Wow. Wow, we've just gone from a very serious topic into this nonsense. So
I'm sorry.
I have a third bit of news quickly. No, it's fine.
But I want to be the rapper in the group.
You want to be the rapper?
Yes.
Oh my god, main rapper Austin. Hold on, what would your rapper name be? What would your stage name be?
MC Sugar Tits. Oh, can you put that in? You might have to edit that out.
No, I'm not editing that. That is staying in. Oh yes. My god, MC Sugar Tits. Okay.
Hello, bitches.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. I have another bit of news quickly, just briefly. So Big Hit Labels is partnering up with Universal Music Group, and they plan to launch a new boy group. This isn't the first time this is happening in K-pop, but it's still exciting. They'll be holding global auditions and stuff. And I was wondering, so are the members going to be Korean, Asian, or are they gonna mix it? Is it gonna be a Western group? I have no idea.
Yes, I heard that SM Entertainment is also looking for a new boy group as well.
Yep. I believe they were the first to do it. I'm not sure if they were the first or if another company did it, but I'm sure SM said they were going to do that quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's exciting though.
It is very exciting. I'm curious to see like what kind of. I doubt it's going to be Western like idols as well, but that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see, and that's it. That is literally it for Snakey. Hold on, my voice just broke. I'm leaving that in as well. I need to take my inhaler.
What's going on? Allergy season?
I was trying to take my name and you
Oh,
made
God. I'm sorry. She's dying, y'all.
Oh my God. It's not even that. It's when I laugh and I do my wheezing.
Yes.
It just fucks up my asthma. So now we move on to this week's topic, which is boy groups versus girl groups, where we're just
Yay.
going to be, where we're just going to be talking about our experiences as boy group stands, girl group stands, etc., and just our general opinions on the differences, the things we like, as well as you guys' opinions and submissions. I'll just start off by briefly filling you all in on my experience. So I think if you're subscribed to me, you all know I've been into K-pop since around 2015. I started standing BTS. That was the first group I ever stand. But before I discovered BTS, I was actually casually listening. A lot of people don't know this, but I was casually listening to Taemin and Red Velvet. I've said this many times before, but ever since I was younger, I've loved listening to music in different languages, which goes back to what I was saying about I don't really care about lyrics. Another one of those things is because I love listening to music in different languages. I grew up listening to a lot of like Brazilian music. My dad would listen to a lot of Brazilian music, and I'd just listen to it without understanding it. So I'd always be listening to music in different languages, and I can't remember. I must have been listening to Crush and Dean, and then somehow Temin and Red Velvet were recommended to me on Spotify, and I was listening to them, but it never crossed my mind that I was sort of listening to K-pop, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, I've always been listening to Red Velvet. So since 2015, I've been listening to Red Velvet. The only difference was I was never really driven to stan them. I just didn't think to look outside of the music, if that makes sense. So I'd be listening and I just didn't go searching for those compilations on YouTube, or I didn't rewatch the music videos or stuff like that. And I never really understood why until recently when I started getting into girl groups more, this whole girl group journey. I realized for me, it's mostly the concepts. It's the concepts that don't appeal to me as much, and the choreo or maybe the fashion a bit. And that's something that I personally don't think will ever change for me. And I'm not saying that girl groups never do similar concepts and stuff to boy groups, because they do. I've seen it. It's just not as much, which is why I'll probably always be more of a boy group stan. However, while I do think there's a difference in like concepts and stuff, and I do think there is a difference in sounds when it comes to title tracks. Let me tell you, since getting into both of them, the B-sides are pretty much all the same shit. I can't really find a difference in boy group B-sides and girl group B-sides. And most of the time, especially if they're from the same company, they're usually written and produced by the same people. So I find a lot of Red Velvet's B-sides, if you like Red Velvet's B-sides, you're gonna like a lot of EXO's B-sides. That's what I found.
Interesting.
Yeah, basically, just to sum it up, like I can safely say now that I listen to girl groups as much as I do boy groups. So if I'm going on Spotify, I'm gonna be listening to girl groups just as much as boy groups. However, I still think I will be more of a boy group stan over a girl group stan, simply because I feel I just vibe more with boy group concepts and choreo especially.
Interesting. I think our stories are pretty similar. For me, I still consider myself a girl group stan primarily.
Right.
And for me, it's just very personal. Like, growing up, I had three sisters, and I still have three sisters, and I grew up in like most of the memories that I have are from like the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s. And so I grew up stealing my sister's CDs. And at that time, my sisters were listening to artists like Fiona Apple and Alanis Morissette and Jewel and stuff like that. So a lot of like really strong, like female singer songwriters. And so then as I got a little bit older and I got super emo, I started
God, hold on. This is news to me. You had an emo phase.
Yeah, and at the end, when I was like 16, 17, my favorite artist was Evanescence.
My God.
I listened to a lot of like Evanescence, a lot of like AFI, Dresden Dolls, stuff like that. But looking back on it, those were all like very heavy, like songwriting groups. Like the lyrics and everything were all super important. And so I always kind of identified more with like female singers, female songwriters. Even I can remember like in middle school, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were super popular. And I primarily, like as a homosexual, I primarily hung out with girls, right? And all of my friends, all of my girlfriends, not girlfriends, but all of my girlfriends were listening to like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and I was just like, "You're dumb. Listen to Spice Girls." And like, I liked Spice Girls and Britney Spears, and like, I always gravitated more towards that energy. And so that's just how it was. And then when I went to college, I think it was 2008 or 2009, maybe 2010. I don't remember what year it was. But I randomly heard a song called I'll Eat You Up, and it was by Boa. And Boa, at that time, SM brought Boa to the United States, and she released a full English album, and there were like American rappers on there. And so I didn't even know she was K-pop. I just thought she was this girl named Boa, and she was a really good dancer. And all of the songs were super like, super electronic, like, 2000s pop kind of all sounded similar. So that's not a diss on her. That's just how the music sounded back then. American music. That's how American music sounded back then. And that album was marketed towards Americans. So it just sounded like that. Fast forward to, I think it was like 2014, 2015. I don't remember the exact year. Whenever Likey came out by Twice. That was the very first K-pop song I ever heard. And I just Googled it. That came out in 2019. So I haven't been listening to K-pop that long at all.
Wait, Likey came out in 2019?
I think that's what the Google machine says.
The Google machine? I think it
okay, 2017.
I mean, you were a couple years off there.
Yeah, 2017. You know what? I just Googled it, and that's the first thing that came up. So 2017, I discovered Likey, and I don't know what it was about that song. I think it was just that it's super infectious and super catchy. Because I typically don't like super like cutesy concepts. But something about that song drew me in. And to this day, TT by Twice is still one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time.
Me too.
It's so good. But
me too.
But after I discovered Twice, I started getting, YouTube recommendations for other groups. And I stumbled across Blackpink and Do. And that was when, like, I didn't know that K-pop, I didn't know that like K-pop Twitter was a thing. I didn't know that like reaction channels were a thing. So I was kind of like discovering this by myself. But like within a week, I had watched all of the Blackpink title tracks. I had started kind of learning a little bit about the members. And then I just kind of like stopped. Like I didn't like stan them or anything like that. And then I didn't listen to any more K-pop pretty much at all. Until I started my channel, and that was like 6 months ago, I think. And so I'm still really new to K-pop. And it's super fun because I've been going back a lot recently, and I've been reacting to like second generation groups that I obviously would have never known about. Like I'm now standing Girls' Generation and like all of these iconic groups like Shiny and Girls' Generation and
Yeah.
all of these groups that I wasn't able to experience back then. And yeah, it's super fun. So yes, girl groups will always, I think, be my thing, but that's just a personal preference.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's with EXO, it's exciting, I think. Because it's like new and it's exciting because my whole life I only listened to pretty much female artists. And so now
Yeah.
that I'm starting to kind of, and with K-pop, it's so like flashy and extravagant. It's just, I don't know, it's something different.
Yeah, I completely agree. But like in the opposite, for me, discovering girl groups is something completely new for me. You know, it's like this whole, and like I was saying, because I find the concepts are so different. Now that I'm open to girl group concepts more, I feel like as well. I feel like I was maybe a little bit more closed minded before, or I had preconceived notions about girl groups and girl group concepts that I just didn't go digging deep enough. Maybe the same way you did. You just didn't go digging for boy groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think now I'm definitely more open-minded. So when I go into a reaction, my mind's just way more open and I'm just more what's the word? I fucking keep forgetting words. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I just feel like it's a whole new experience getting to experience girl groups and also as well, like of course the vocals are different. You get to hear different, even though the production might be very similar. When I was saying about the B-sides pretty much being the same, because they are almost pretty much the same, you do get to hear different vocals and different styles and stuff like that.
What were some misconceptions you had about girl groups? Like what did you think that you were going to get?
I honestly have no idea. So it had to have been like subconsciously maybe. But I
Okay.
feel like people have a misconception about me when they think because I'm a boy group stan and I never got into girl groups, they actually think that I don't like cute concepts, where I'm the
I was
complete
going to ask
opposite.
that. Yeah.
I absolutely love cute concepts as much as I love Red Velvet's like Velvet Side. And I love like R&B and all that. And those are probably the songs I listen to the most. It's actually like the Red Side, like the cute concepts, those types of concepts that I love the most. Like Red Flavor, that is one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time, if not my favorite Red Velvet song.
Okay.
Title track. It has to be. I just love it so much.
It's chaotic for sure.
I love it so much. But yeah, I feel like people don't expect that from me, but I do actually really love cute concepts. Honestly, I don't know what it is, why I didn't.
Well, I can tell you what mine were because I definitely had some misconceptions about boy groups, based on just like, I guess, things that I saw in like American music, I guess. It reminded me a lot of like all of my friends growing up who were like super obsessed with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and that sort of thing and had all the posters on their walls and stuff.
Yeah.
So I assumed, and there definitely is some of this in K-pop for sure. But I assumed that all K-pop boy groups would kind of be geared at like 13 to 14-year-old girls, would kind of be very much like super boyish and maybe like over sexualized and just kind of barf, I guess.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. But also, how do you feel when you're opening your albums and you're getting your little photo cards and you're getting your posters and all of this? You do get that kind of feeling like you are 13, 14 when you're crushing on Kyungsoo, you know, and you're finding his photo card and you're excited about it.
It is very exciting, but I guess the music doesn't translate to that, right? The music is definitely adult. And so when I went, that's what blew me away about EXO so much is like I was getting like a proper like pop R&B group with incredible harmonies and like amazing production. I wasn't getting like, you know, like bubblegum or anything like that. So I think that's what surprised me the most is the you know, just the variety, because like I just thought I thought all K-pop was going to be just bubblegum because I only knew two concepts going into it. I knew Twice Likey and I knew like Kill This Love Blackpink. I didn't know that there was
Yeah.
anything in between. I didn't know that there were artists like Jessie that was doing like really awesome,
Yeah.
like in your face stuff. Now Chungha like doing really awesome, like just
Yeah. Yeah.
owning
Yeah.
their confidence and stuff. So it's exciting. And I just didn't know that K-pop was so vast.
Yeah.
So it's
I
a
know
whole new
exactly what
world.
you
I'm still
mean.
excited. Every time I react to a new group, I'm just like, what am I going to get?
Yeah. And that's the thing as well. I feel like every group is different at the end of the day. Every single group has their own sound, a very different, or even as a company as well. Like every company has their own sound as well. You're gonna get different things, similar things sometimes. I must admit that we do get a lot of repetitiveness sometimes, especially last year, you know, when we had all the retro throwback vibe. We had so many funky disco tracks,
I
so
loved it
many.
though.
I mean, I loved it because the songs were good, but every time it would be one, I'd be like, uh, not again, not
Oh
again.
man.
Even though I enjoyed it, I think after, but this always happens with K-pop. This
Yeah.
always happens. They basically just rinse the concepts and the vibes, and then and then they find
Okay,
something new.
but we got Dinga from Mamamoo, which is
Yeah.
iconic, and we got Mago from G Friend, which is amazing.
I
Like,
haven't checked that out yet.
oh my gosh, that's so good.
I haven't reacted to any G Friend.
Oh, interesting. They
Yeah.
are I'm interested to see what you think about it. They're very
Really?
interesting. Yeah. A lot of people kind of, this was what I got in the comment section a lot. So don't drag me for this. A lot of people said that like, I don't know how to word this. They're very good.
Uh-oh.
Their vocals are very good. It's just a lot of people said that it's kind of like if you took Dreamcatcher and like took out the rock elements of it. So you have like really complex songs that are really interesting, and you'll probably like it because there's a lot going on like musically, and you have incredible vocals. There's just none of that like rock or like anime type sound to it. So if you
Mm.
like that, you'll probably really like them.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I feel like I will like them then. Because I
Yeah, it's
think,
just
I like songs that just have a lot going on. I love switch ups, I love changes, I love all
yeah,
that sort of thing.
it's hard, and I don't want to make that comparison. That's just what was told to me when I started
Yeah.
reacting to them. Because anytime you throw another artist name in there, people freak out, and it's
I
just
mean,
a
it's not.
I'm
I know
learning.
some people don't understand that just because you're mentioning another artist doesn't mean you're comparing the two. Essentially, you're just using another group as an example, like for reference. I don't think that's necessarily comparing.
Yeah. Now, so on today's subject of boy group versus girl group, um, I kind of have a problem with like the preface of that, I guess, of that statement, because I think I find it silly that people categorize themselves or feel the need to categorize themselves as a boy group stan or a girl group stan. Um,
Yeah,
I've never really done that. I've always just said that I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like.
yeah,
Um, but I've also had people tell me, if your ultra group is EXO, then you're always going to be a boy group stan. Even if you listen to 90% girl groups, if your one alt group is EXO, you're a boy group stan. And there's just a lot of like toxicity. And for some reason, there's people who girl group stans who hate all boy group stans. And it's just
yeah.
ridiculous. Like, especially like me, like I'm too old for that. I don't.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's not being a boy group stan or being a girl group stan isn't a negative thing in any way whatsoever. It's not a bad thing. However, of course, people are always going to add negative connotations to anything. There's always going to be toxic people. There's always going to be people to turn things into like negative things, unfortunately. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being a boy group stan or girl group stan or saying you're a boy group stan or a girl group stan, as long as you're not trashing on one or the other, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's easier for me to say, oh, well, not anymore because I listen to so many girl groups. Even though I still think I lean more towards in terms of standing. See, there's a bit of a difference because in terms of just casually listening, it's equal right now for me. If I'm going on Spotify and I'm choosing an artist to listen to, it's equal. It's either boy groups or girl groups. But in terms of standing, in a sense, knowing all the members' names, knowing their personalities, watching cracks, knowing facts about them, loving their concepts, loving the fashion, being obsessed with the choreo, all of those things, which to me personally makes you a stan, not a
Yeah.
casual fan. Makes me more of a boy group stan. But I don't think it's a negative thing in any way whatsoever.
And I'm the exact opposite. Like, I only stan one boy group, and that's EXO.
Yeah,
And when I'm thinking of girl groups, there's at least 4.
yeah. I mean, again, you're saying that now, but it's still very, very early days for you.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been here for since 2015, so I've been doing K-pop for 6 years now, and it was only up until last year that I can easily say that I'm listening to boy groups and girl groups equally. But I think because I've had like literally 5 years on boy groups, like standing boy groups, I don't know if maybe in another 5 years I'll say it will be equal, maybe possibly, but it's hard for me because so BTS is my bias group, right? I've camped for 24 hours outside in the freezing cold, almost died in a stampede.
Oh, God.
To get barricade, which I did twice, to see them. That is like so much dedication that I
Yeah,
had for BTS. And
that's a lot of. Did you at least get to, like, see? Did you smell them? Like, was it worth it?
It was so worth it. I got so many interactions with them. I've got it all on video. I've got pictures. It was absolutely insane. But just that whole process of doing that. And I think, wait, would I do that for Mamamoo? Probably. Probably. Now that I think about it, probably. I probably
Okay.
would. I probably would. Now that I think about it, I just haven't got the chance to do it. But I think when I've done that for a girl group, I think I'll be able to say, yeah, I'm equal.
There might be more opportunity for you with BTS because they're definitely like global,
Yeah,
worldwide. They had tours like in every single freaking country. I feel
yeah,
like with some of the other groups, you would have to like go to South Korea.
yeah. I mean, Super M came to London. I missed them, unfortunately. NCT came to London. Another group I stand, Stray Kids, came to London. GOT7 came to London. I don't know if any girl groups have been.
I'm sure they have. I mean, obviously not right now because the world is a mess, but
But I'm trying to think of like in these venues that I'm trying to think of where these boy groups came to. I'm trying to think if I ever heard of the girl. Oh, Blackpink probably. Blackpink probably did. But I don't really dig their music. Maybe I'd just go and see them anyway.
have you ever listened to them or have you ever tried to?
Yeah, I have. I have many times when they first came out. I listened to them. I just don't really vibe with their songs, unfortunately. I even listened to their most recent album. I feel like I'm missing out. I hate that everyone loves Blackpink and stands Blackpink except me. So
I
I really want to like their music. I just don't. I actually, out of all their songs, I actually don't mind. How You Like That?
Oh,
It came
really?
on, yeah, it came on shuffle. When I was working out, and it came on, and I didn't skip it, and I was like, this isn't that bad. But their other tracks, I just can't vibe with them. They just don't really do anything for me, unfortunately. However, they are really cool. I've seen their MVs. Their MVs are awesome. Their choreo's awesome, and also they're absolutely stunning. It's just the songs in particular I don't vibe with.
Well, and I know you really don't like EDM stuff that
Yeah,
much, and there's a lot of that.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. People say, "Well, you listen to a lot of EDM, you like Stray Kids, NCT," but I'm particular when it comes to EDM. There's some EDM that I love and there's some EDM that I don't love, unfortunately. And it seems to be quite common with YG's production. I don't know if it's Teddy, because I don't vibe with a lot of Big Bang songs as well. So I don't know if it's something to do with YG. I have no idea, but it's very sad. I'm sad about that. But I'll probably get hate for this, but if they came to London, I'll probably go and see them. I'll probably get hate for people like, you're wasting a ticket.
No, it's not a bad thing. You're still supporting the artist and you have your own personal preference. Like with me, that was one of the misconceptions I had with boy groups. I thought that it was all going to just be very like rap heavy. And there's a lot of artists that are, but like unnecessary rap and K-pop, like every K-pop song needing to have just a random rap verse is something I really just don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I was afraid that most boy groups would have that, and there definitely are some rap focused boy groups out there, but I've been really surprised at how, at least the EXO songs that I've heard, I haven't listened to a lot of the B-sides, but the rap verses actually fit the song. It's not just random.
Yeah, I think you'll find that with a lot of, I mean, you've been getting into NCT as well. I think you're going to find, you know what, it's SM in general. SM are just I don't know, really good. I don't know what to say. I think SM are just absolutely incredible.
I picked the 3 most aggressive NCT 127 songs to start off with, and people were roasting me in the comments.
Oh yeah, I saw that you weren't really vibing with Cherry Bomb.
I just like, that's a hell of a first impression.
It is. You know what? I think it will grow on you though, because there's some really nice moments in that song, like the R&B switch ups. There's just some really nice switch ups in there. That song is actually produced by Them Joints. Have you reacted to Obsession? You have, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Obsession. Yeah, so that's produced by Them Joints, who also produced Kick It.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of times people don't understand that, like, or they don't reflect about like their first listen, because like most of the reactors I know, their first listen is genuine and authentic, and a lot of times a song has to grow on you. You have to listen to it a couple times, and so sometimes I'll still get random comments being like, oh well, you hated that song, and then I'll laugh and I'll be like, wait, that's one of my favorite songs, what are you talking about? And then I'll go back and watch my reaction again where I was just kind of meh on the song. So people don't really understand that. It's just our first impression.
Yeah, that I think that all the time. Like, people literally forget this is our first time hearing something. Like, obviously our opinions could change later down the line.
Yep.
And obviously the second time you hear something, the third time you hear something, you notice different things as well. But yeah, where are we?
Where are we?
Jesus Christ, who am I? I think we should move on to people's submissions and opinions. We got so many. I don't think we're going to get through them all, unfortunately, because we're an hour in already.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
Listen, we both talk a lot. That's the whole point.
I'm surprised you and Anitra didn't go for a freaking 4 hours.
No, I had to stop. We had to stop at some point. Almost.
I talked to her for 3 hours the other day. I was
my God. I can imagine the both of you.
It was amazing. I love you, Anitra.
I said I actually want to get maybe a couple of you. Maybe I'll get you and Anitra on. I want to get Pia Mercedes on. But I think I won't speak. Maybe I'll just host the podcast here and there, if that makes sense. Because I think it'll be way too much if we're all talking. Yeah. But it'll be cool to have you guys like having a conversation, and I'll just be there like just being a little a host.
That would be a mess, but it would be entertaining.
It would be it would be really entertaining. Maybe it would be so bad that I wouldn't post it, but maybe we should try it.
I think it would be very entertaining.
I think we should do it then. We'll see. We'll see. We'll talk in the group chat later.
We could make it a debate.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting.
Executive producer Sir Austin, I got ideas.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. Okay, anyway, let me not get distracted. Okay, so the first submission is initially I struggled a lot with the sound of the majority of girl groups. I wonder why. Now I listen. Sorry, that sounded really sarcastic, but I don't think it was meant to be. Sorry. Anyway, now I listen to pretty much everything and I find myself enjoying all sorts of groups regardless. Actually, in 2020, I preferred girl group comebacks over boy groups in general. Um, I was actually thinking 2020 was a great year for me to get into girl groups.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to say because that's just that person's opinion, and everyone's opinion
Yeah,
is valid and good for
yeah.
you.
No, yeah, I agree with the last bit because I did really enjoy a lot of girl groups comebacks. I don't know if I
Yeah.
enjoyed them more over boy groups. The first part, saying they struggled a lot with the sound with the majority of girl groups, I don't really agree with because I generally didn't listen to a lot of girl groups. So I didn't really struggle with the sound or anything like that. The next one says, honestly, don't have a preference. I guess it all comes down to the concept they are going for and what kind of music they put out. However, I do think there are a lot of untapped potential with co-ed groups. It's a
Oh,
shame that there's not many of them. Yes.
I agree.
Have you reacted to Card?
I did, and I had mixed feelings, so I haven't reacted to them again.
What song
But
did you react to?
I think I reacted to 3 of them.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could I like them, but I was really surprised that I did because they are quite heavy EDM. I haven't reacted to them since. I think maybe because they are quite full on, but they're really fun, if that makes sense.
I listened to Bomb Bomb and Gunshot, and I really liked Bomb Bomb, but I didn't like Gunshot, and I really liked that dude's chest.
Oh,
That's all I remember from the music video.
he's apt. Yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to have more co-ed groups, honestly and truly. Um, this one is a very basic one. It says prefer boy groups. There are a few songs from second gen girl groups, Red Velvet, Mama Moo, that I listen to. That's it. Hashtag Snakey Talk. Thank you. Next one says, I used to stand boy groups since 2009 until 2014. Man, why have you been listening to K-pop for that long for? Jesus. Red Velvet and Mama Moo got me interested with girl groups. Now I can say that I stan girl groups more, and the only boy group I stan, like literally fangirl over them, is SHINee. Oh, are you excited for
Yes.
SHINee's comeback?
I don't know. I think so. I would be lying if I said that I was like super excited because I've only reacted to them twice now. Um, but I have enjoyed, especially the last couple songs I listened to. I really enjoyed. Um, yeah, it's one of those things. I haven't even started my journey with them yet. I do want to react to guides and stuff like that because I really, in my last reaction, I kind of fell in love with Key and his
Oh,
voice.
you're gonna act. The thing is, his personality is absolutely incredible as well. You're gonna
Yeah,
absolutely fall head over
that
heels.
that's what I love about being a reactor because as soon as I react to something and I say I like some person, I go to Twitter and people have tagged me in videos of them. And so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've already seen like Taemin trying to get his manager a wife and I've
Oh
already
my
seen a lot of
God.
the funny stuff. So like I definitely want to get more into the group because they seem hilarious and the whole Key's English seems pretty good also.
Yeah.
And I want to react to keep. So that's the problem. Like, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
I have 2 jobs. I have a full-time job, and then I also have vocal coaching stuff that I do with students. So, like, I'm
Yeah.
booked and busy. I only have a certain amount of time. And, every time I sit down to make a video, I'm always just like, EXO, EXO, EXO. So I have to make time for other groups.
I fully understand. I feel you. I'm the same. There's so many groups. I could literally just sit in bed, watch the guides, watch the funny compilation, and that's it. But
know.
I don't. I save it all. I save it all for the reactions, and it's actually kind of infuriating when people are just kind of rushing you, like, "Where's this? Are you gonna react to this? Where's this?" Like, guys, I really want to. I want to, but I can't.
Right.
Next one is, personally, I prefer girl groups this generation. I was a boy group stan before, but there's something about boy groups in fourth gen that make them typical. I don't know if that makes sense, but boy group concepts this gen look the same. I don't think so. I don't know. Unlike girl groups whose concepts are more diverse. I mean, you could say the same for both. I'm sure someone can say they find girl group concepts look the same and boy group concepts look the same.
Yeah, that's just a personal opinion, but I do think that fourth generation in general, whether we're talking about girl groups or boy groups, I feel like they're being more experimental with their sound. Definitely more EDM stuff. I'm even hearing a little bit more like industrial stuff happening. And like, you have to be careful with that because eventually it all kind of starts to sound like noise and it all kind of starts to sound the same. So I don't think it's fair to say that boy groups sound similar.
Yeah. Like I said, the same can be said for boy groups and girl groups essentially. But I think if you're, listening to the B-sides, digging in deeper, even looking at, all the different concept photos and stuff like that, and like, the photo books and stuff like that, until you're digging in that deep to see like the variety and stuff, I don't think you can really make that sort of judgment. Like, I couldn't make that judgment on girl groups without properly digging deep into them. This next one is, gotta say, my journey with K-pop, 16 years. Guys, what are you doing? 16 years! What are you doing? It started with definitely leaning towards, it says BBs, so I'm assuming boy groups more. Big Bang, DBSK, Shinhwa, God, Super Junior, Shiny, and now I heavily prefer girl groups. I'm not into the hyper-masculine sound look.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree. I honestly don't know which group is hyper masculine for me to be able to say.
I think they might be talking about like there's a trend where male rappers lower their voices deeper than they actually are. And there's that need to sound like you have a super deep, sexy voice that isn't their actual real voice. That might be what they're talking about.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Possibly. I have no idea.
That's that's a pet peeve of mine.
Oh, what the deep voices?
So like as a vocal coach, I can tell what someone's actual chest voice is, and I can look at their throat and see that they're lowering their larynx and they're actually making their voice deeper than it naturally sits. So I can detect those type of things, and I can tell when it's kind of like, some people might just do it because it's a style that they think they sound good or that the company wants them to do. Same thing can be said with girls. There's tons of instances of girls being forced to have higher pitched, more like baby voices.
I was literally about to mention that or ask.
And they're both equally frustrating for me because, like, as someone who works with people's voices like all the time, like that's part of my job, is to strip those things away and to get people back to their natural voice, because both of those things are not healthy.
Right. But again, like you said as well, that's probably most likely the company doing it.
It's a creative decision. Yeah, I mean, it's a choice.
Especially when you have, though, a certain amount of members in a group, you're going to have to sort of, what's the word? God, I can't talk today.
It's just, I'm sure like a lot of times, like 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to prefer a live performance over a studio recording because I like hearing someone's natural voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, that's what I was going to say. So if you've got 7 members in a group, sometimes obviously maybe they think, to make each member's voices sound like distinct, like different maybe.
I get that.
I have no idea. It also says, as I'm older, watching all these kids take off their shirts and show off their bods kind of makes me feel icky. Fair enough. I mean, I don't care if they're of age. Most of them are of age, grown. So I don't know how old this person is, so I can't really say. But
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I love it. But you know what?
I mean, yeah. But also it says, but also the way girl groups music has evolved, their sound has evolved away from that super cutesy image. Their choreo has evolved. This one's very long, so I'm just going to stop there. But yeah, the whole shirts off thing, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. A lot of these idols, of course, there are some that are very young in a group, which I think it's kind of weird. But I haven't noticed young members in groups or young groups being overly sexualized like that in boy groups. I don't know about girl groups.
It's not happening in girl groups either. There's a girl group that has
Okay.
a member that is 14 years old, and that
Oh my God.
really annoyed me. But guess what? She was doing the least amount of like dancing, and she was fully clothed, and it was great. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, that's icky.
yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't want to see that at all. I haven't noticed anything like that with younger members in boy groups or younger groups. It does happen in the older groups, so you will see Kai with his shirt off in a crop top. And even though he's
Yes.
my little baby brother, and I don't see him like that, I can understand it's very appealing to a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with that, really.
Nope.
I'm just looking for more. There's so many. It says, I only stand girl groups because there is nothing that attract me to boy groups. I don't know what it is. The only boy group I can say I really got into are One Us and One We, but that's because of Mamamoo. But I do listen to boy groups music. They make bops.
What?
Okay, so this was kind of like how I was with girl groups, or how I am with girl groups. So they listen to boy groups music. However, nothing attracts them to stand, so to say. So maybe the concepts, the choreo, the MVs, they just don't vibe with that, but they actually like the music.
To me, that sounded more like an RBW stan. Like, I'm going to listen to them because of Mamamoo, because they're on the same company as them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe they just discovered them because of that.
Yeah, because they are
But
always called Mamamoo's, baby brothers. And they have songs together, like One We and Hwasa has a song together, and One We has covered Mamamoo's songs. Have you reacted to One We's covers of Mamamoo's songs?
I did react to one cover. I can't remember.
Oh my God, they're so good. Yes.
It was so good. So good. They're so underrated. But yeah, I can understand not standing boy groups, but just casually listening to their music. So that last sentence I can agree with.
Sure.
It says, I listen to boy groups except Mamamoo. I just don't click with the other groups because of the music, concepts, choreography, and the voice texture. Girl groups are not my thing. Fair enough.
I just think these people need to listen to more K-pop. Like, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to be wrong, which you are wrong. You just need to listen to more music.
But this is exactly what I say. And not just as a girl group versus boy group type thing. Just in general, you have to listen properly. You can't make a judgment of a group without just listening to an album or two first.
Correct.
You have listen, even groups I stan, title tracks are never a good representation of a group's overall sound. Ever. Mamamoo's title tracks are nothing like their B-sides. Well, they are, obviously, because they're the same group. But I would never, if I was to introduce Mamamoo to someone, I wouldn't show them their title tracks first. I would go straight in to specific B-sides.
Interesting. I would definitely show them their title tracks. I would show them, I would show them Piano Man. I would show them Mr. Ambiguous, and I would show them Egotistic.
Right.
That would give you a great idea of like their more like my favorite Mamamoo is like the sultry, sexy, like jazzy Mamamoo. Like when they first debuted, like that is my favorite era. And I loved Egotistic because of that Latin flair, and it had the same like sultry vibes. I liked Dinga and stuff like that too, but I don't know, their vocal talent is so good. It's harder for me to connect to a song that's just kind of a little bit more playful. I like it when they're really kind of getting in there and I don't know. I love
Yeah.
him so much.
I know, me too. I just personally don't vibe with the title tracks as much as the B-sides, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
I find them fun and I'll enjoy them. When I'm doing like reacting to compilations and stuff and the songs will pop up, I get happy and I'm excited, but I don't actively put them on to listen to as much as certain B-sides. So I think that's why I would probably go for the B-sides. And that's not just Mamamoo, that's other groups I stan as well. I just would go to the B-sides more. So that's why I always say you just listen to the B-sides, man. Listen to the B-sides and then make your judgment. There's so many. There's too many. I don't even know where to start.
I think that's great that so many people responded.
Yeah. There's just too many. I'm going to read one more. This is the last one. It says, I stan boy groups because I get that guilty pleasure from watching them. But I always find myself listening to girl groups when I'm feeling meh or whatever. I guess listening to boy groups gets me in a certain mood. So if I want to chill, I listen to girl groups.
What kind of mood does it get you in?
Yeah, you should have been a little bit more specific there.
She said it made her feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah, I'm saying she, I don't know.
It could be a he. That's great.
Could be a he. Could be a they. It says I stand boy groups because I get that guilty pleasure from watching them. So you get a guilty pleasure from listening to boy groups, and then you say it gets you in a certain mood.
I think it's like a horny jail situation.
Boy groups make me horny.
Yes.
That's what I should title this podcast.
and then they listen to girl groups to cool down when they're feeling meh. That's how I interpreted that. And honestly,
wow.
Same. This is probably one of my followers, honestly.
Probably. I can't believe we just like sexualized the tweet like that. Wow.
Yeah. See, that's why Stan Twitter is awful, because you can't interpret what someone is meaning over text.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. Well, I think I'm going to have to end the submissions there because there's too many. Thank you, though. Thank you, everyone who submitted your opinions and your thoughts. It's really appreciated. It makes the podcast way more fun. Moving on to my favorite part of the podcast, which is the Korean slang expression of the week. Austin, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so hold on. Let me get the page open. Man, I'm so unorganized. Hold on. I'm asking you if you're ready, and I'm not even ready myself. Jesus fucking Christ.
Professional.
Yes, I am a professional. Anyway, let's get on to the Korean slang expression of the week. So last week we had 절다, which means great, awesome. And the exclamation form for that was 전다. This week we have Ingyeo. Ingyeo, which is basically ING and ya.
Ingyeo.
Ingyeo. Yeah. The original meaning of Ingyeo is surplus. But these days, people use the word to talk about a certain person's capabilities. When you refer to someone as Ingyeo, it means that the person is not a necessary or essential person and is therefore considered a surplus. This concept is sometimes related to young people without a job. You can also describe someone's unnecessary but great skills as Ingyeo.
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Ingyeo. This is a good example here. You'll like this one. Ingyeo is often combined with other words to form interesting new expressions. For example, Ingyeo is a combination of Twitter, and Ingyeo, and refers to someone who spends too much time on Twitter.
That is a personal attack. You specifically chose this because of me.
But I thought you're not even on Twitter that much. Or you
what a
kind of
heifer.
Oh, that hellhole. Anyway, Ingyeo. That's this week's Korean slang expression. And that brings the podcast to an end. Before we head off, Sir Austin, do you have anything to plug? Any upcoming reactions you want to let the listeners know about?
I don't have anything to plug, but if you've never checked out my channel, please do. You can find me at Sir Austin, youtube.com/Sir Austin. That will take you there. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you have in store next week. Do you know who your guest is?
Possibly Pia and Mercedes again.
Okay.
Possibly. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have to speak to them again. I do have someone for the week after, but I just need to confirm. But yeah, so I haven't got any news about the next podcast. You're supposed to be plugging your stuff. Why the hell are you plugging next week's podcast?
Because I'm trying to support Snakey Talk, y'all. I'm a nice person. I don't have anything to plug. Honestly, I don't have a Patreon. I just have a YouTube channel. Like, go watch my videos if you want to. If you don't want to, it's fine.
So no upcoming reactions, the usual EXO.
I don't even know what I'm doing in like 20 minutes, honestly.
Absolutely useless. Guys, please
I'm Ingyeo. Ingyeo Chingu. I'm a useless friend.
Oh my god, guys, we're making up words and phrases.
I think that works, honestly.
So do I. Well, it works now anyway. But honestly, guys, if you enjoy my reactions, I promise you will enjoy Sir Austin's. I promise you. Because he doesn't do too much pausing as well. That's another thing.
Yeah, I try not to.
Yeah.
If I'm pausing, it's probably because like there might be like nipple action or something. Like I typically pause for a good areola, but other than that, it's pretty much just play straight through.
Oh, guys, so you heard that. So he might pause for an areola, but other than that, you're good, you're safe. Go and subscribe to Sir Austin. And yeah, that's it, guys. Goodbye. I'll see you next week. Thank you for coming, Austin.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.